I'm Paulie with JP Cycles, here to talk to you about battery maintenance. I'm also going to show you how to remove and reinstall a battery into a touring Harley Davidson. I went to pull this bike in this morning and the battery was toast. This is what I got. Had high hopes, but that's all she wrote. Now, this wouldn't have happened had this bike been properly maintained. If we had had a battery tender hooked on it, it most likely would have started right up. But this bike's sitting in a cold warehouse. It's pretty cold today and it just didn't want to start up. So that being said, follow me over and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about lead acid batteries as well as lithium ion. So as I said, we have two styles of batteries to talk about. We have lithium ion as well as a conventional lead acid battery. For years, everyone's used lead acid batteries, but before they were pretty corrosive. They leaked, they weren't sealed batteries. Well, they've come a long ways. Now it's a sealed battery, pretty much ready to go when you pull it out of the box. But you do need to charge it. When you have a lead acid battery, its first charge is the most important. It will never be any further charge than it is when you first hook it up to your bike. Lead acid batteries are great. There's nothing wrong with them, and most of your OEMs, well, they use the lead acid batteries. So why do we move to the lithium ion? Well, there's a few advantages. One would be weight. This big battery for a touring bike weighs less than this little Dyna battery right here. I can pick this up with my left hand, move it all around. Doesn't weigh anything. It weighs about a third of what the same battery in a lead acid would weigh. On top of that, it has a slower discharge rate. So that means if your bike is sitting, like the bike I showed you earlier that wouldn't start, well, it most likely would have started with the lithium ion because it has a slower discharge rate. With the lithium ion, pull it out of the box, and as long as it's 12.8 volts or more, you're ready to go. You don't have to do an initial charge. Lithium ion battery is going to give you about twice the service life of a lead acid battery. So even though they cost more, in the end, they really don't. You can see I have the lead acid battery hooked up to a battery tender so that it can stay charged. Well, it just switched over to storage. It was charging just a minute ago. So I know this one is ready to go. I can put this in a bike. Now this one, I don't have to charge initially, but if I want to maintain it, I have to use a different charger. It will require a lithium ion battery charger. I have one here from Bike Master. It's a really nice unit, and it also has the hookup so when I put the battery in, I can have the pigtail sticking out so I can use this as a maintenance trickle charger. When the lithium ion batteries first came out a few years back for motorcycles, they were kind of a universal size. It was a small battery, and then you had to get some form of foam or something like that to fill the battery space on your bike. Well, that's no more. With the Twin Power, it's the exact same size as the OEM battery. It's going to drop right in, and it's going to work just as normal. Another thing I really like about the Twin Power lithium ion battery is the terminals. If you look at these terminals, they're very nice. They're heavy duty. You don't have to put any hardware in it, anything like that. You just bolt right on. So I mentioned the pigtail for trickle charging. Now, if you're somebody that rides your bike 2 or 3 times a week, you really don't need to do that. But if you're going to let your bike sit for a couple of weeks at a time, it's a good idea to have a trickle charger. It's going to keep the battery at its peak, so you're not starting off with a weak battery and then having to charge it up once you get it running. So now I'm going to check this lithium ion battery. I'm going to see if it's at 12.8 volts or higher. If it is, then I'm going to show you how to install it into that touring bike. All right, so with my handy dandy voltmeter, we're going to hook up and hook the black to negative, red to positive, and see what kind of voltage we have. Perfect, we have 13.28 volts. That is above 12.8, so we're good to go. We get started by removing the seat. So with the seat off, I'm going to remove these 2 T40 bolts right here. All right. Just move all of your connectors out of the way and then just push forward with that and it comes right out. So now you can see your connectors here. Be sure when you disconnect that you don't accidentally drop one of your wires. You don't want that to happen. Grab the strap, and that'll help you lift the battery right out of place. So now I'm going to put the new battery in. You also notice on the new battery, it does have a rubber mat on the bottom. It's another thing about the lithium ion, they do have superior vibration resistance. I'm going to remove this pigtail and put in the new one. I'm going to start out with a positive post and get the battery hooked up. I like to take the large actual battery cable have that one making first contact with the battery, and then all of the accessory cables above it. All right, now to do the same thing with the negative side. When you're doing this, you want to make sure that none of your cables are going to be in the way of the top caddy. Top caddy being the plastic piece we removed from over the battery. Pretty good there. Let me grab the top caddy and slide it back into place. Now I'll slide my ECM into place. It slides just like that and locks into place. Pop that right back down, and we're pretty much there. Before we put the seat on, we're going to go ahead and start the bike up and make sure we're good to go. So that's the installation. Pretty simple process. This is something you should be able to do at home and start saving money. I've taught you a little bit about battery maintenance, a little bit about batteries, and I've shown you how to do your battery. I'm Paulie with J&P Cycles. Ride them, don't hide them, and ride it like you can fix it.